Slenderman, Slenderman, all the children try to run. Slenderman, Slenderman, to him it's part of the fun. Slenderman, Slenderman, dressed in darkest suit and tie. Slenderman, Slenderman, you most certainly will die.
Oh, hello, and welcome to El Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have, as part of Slender Month, Tall, Thin, and Faceless. So, Tall, Thin, and Faceless is on creepypasta.wiki. You can also, don't entirely quote me on this, I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like the author of it is Harble Mornitz. At least that's the person that posted it on the wiki site, so take that with a grain of salt. It was posted in 2010, so it's been around for a while, like fucking 7 years now, Jesus, almost as long as the Slenderman mythos has been around. Mm-hmm. And you can also check out readings of it on YouTube, including one by Mr. Creepypasta. And yeah, I guess we'll just go into this one. So it starts off with the guy in a padded room. All crazy. He's got all sorts of psychoses to him. But he didn't always used to be like this. He used to be a fairly well-off white guy, I think.
It
doesn't say, but it basically everything else was there except for that white guy thing. Because can he be much more of a fucking middle-class douchebag? Anyway, so yeah, he didn't always used to be in an insane asylum or whatever, in a padded room. He had a life. He had a wife. He had 2 kids. Very decent job. What was it? High income, low debt.
Yeah.
And him and his wife had always wanted to go to British Isles, or to British Isles, to the British Isles, and so after some saving, they went to Britain, sans their children, because fuck them, they don't need to go on a world vacation. Mm-hmm. God damn it! I'm just gonna say it right now. I do not like this guy's already kind of seems like a douchebag by the start of the story. But yeah, so they're there. They're having fun. They're there for 24 days or up to a month almost. And they check out all the cool sites in London and stuff, and then they go out to the rural country. And that's kind of where the troubles start. And it starts particularly when they go by a tailor shop in some village or just out in the middle of the countryside, and he decides to get himself a new suit. And it'll be affordable. It's only in pounds compared to American.
Yeah. That only really makes sense if we went to Thailand or something.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Because in my youth, I actually did go to Thailand and actually got a suit there for for 200 baht, or no, not 200 baht. It was about $200.
Yeah.
But it was a really good deal compared to where else you'd go. Mm-hmm. So anyways, he gets the suit, and while he's getting, putting the money down and, getting all prepped up and stuff like that, he notices there's a photo on the wall, and it's of a guy in a suit, but without a face, his face is completely smudged over or something like that, and he's in, this grassy field. So, he gets the suit, they go back across to America, back to their home, back to their homes, and, he gets... I think they get home in the car ride and stuff like that, and he basically kind of keels over for a time. He has he gets some weird feeling, and then he falls basically out of the car, from the car, and then his wife helps him out, brings him inside and stuff.
I don't recall that, but then
okay,
it must not have been that memorable.
Yeah. Regardless, then, so he. At some point, he has some really nasty dreams, and then he hears halfway through the night he hears something break, and he goes downstairs, checks it out armed with a brick that they have at the doorstop, or as the doorstop, and finds that one of the lamps has been broken, but there's nothing else there. So he goes back upstairs, comes back down the next day. The lamp is there, but it's not brand new. It's not that it's fallen. It did actually break, or that it's new. Like it never did break. It's that it broke, and somebody fixed it by putting tar on it and stuff. And then the next night, he wakes up in the middle of the night to his children screaming, and he goes up there, and somebody's tried to break in. Fuck, I'm trying to remember now. God damn it.
Well, that's where the...
Oh yeah, where Slender Man actually attacked. Yeah. The next night, there's a shattering, or like somebody's trying to break in. And he fears it's coming from one of the kids' rooms. He runs to one of the kids. He yells, "The other is my brother's room." Goes in there, and then there's Slender Man basically over the kid, and we just get a fight.
Yeah.
We just get a fight between fists and tentacles as he gets basically beaten by the Slender Man, and then the Slender Man takes the child and is gone. And he calls the cops. The cops show up, and they think that he's gone out in the woods because they live out near some woods, and they find some traces of some rips of his suit that he just got out in the tree. So he goes back with the cops out to where the suit was supposed to be. I guess there's some confirmation. I guess they think that he might be the suspect or something like that, or have some kind of inkling, or oh shit, they took that. And they go to the closet where it is, and they open it up, and the kid is bloody and not breathing, wrapped in the suit, I think.
Yep.
And so then he basically they put them into kind of semi-protective custody. Basically, they give them a hotel to stay at. So they get all their stuff out of the crime scene. They get their stuff, they pack their stuff, and that's when he notices on the kitchen table or on the kitchen fridge is a picture that the kid drew of him right next to a Slender Man. So he takes that evidence and puts it away, and then they go to the hotel, and while at the hotel, he looks at it a little more, and then the cop shows up saying that the body has been taken, and he knows instantly that they have to go to the woods behind their house. So he convinces the cop to take him down there. He escapes the cops side and runs out into the woods.
By going through the house.
Oh, yeah, because he convinced the cop to take him back because he said, "Oh, I forgot something." And then he just runs out into the woods and starts looking for his son and stuff. And the cop catches up, and he's just we need to go. It's oh no, he finds a picture in the woods of now it's his whole family with Slender Man. And so the cop shows up though in the woods, tells him we have to go. They have to go, and he tries to convince him that his family's in danger and they need to get to the hotel. It's no, don't worry about it. We'll just go back to the hotel. So then the guy gets a rock and bashes the cop's head in, or head over, or well, it reads kind of like he bashed his head in, but I think it's just hit him over the head with the rock, knocking him out, taking his keys, driving out to the hotel, gets into the hotel room, and it's just a bloody massacre, and Slender Man's there, and there's this weird circle of bodies around the Slender Man, and he turns to face the our narrator, which I just realized does not have a name.
Nope.
It's Slender Steve. And he says, and actually Slender Man after just basically boring into his gaze, just says a single word, and it's just a single phrase, and it's just help me.
Well, it's not a phrase that he gets bombarded with emotion.
Sorry, that's what. As it's gazing without eyes at him, it's basically forcing all his its emotions onto him.
Yeah.
And then it says, "Help me," and that's when it fades away, and then the cops show up and take him in because now he's the primary suspect of this mass murder, or this family murder, and now he's in the padded. Now we're square one in the padded room, and he realizes that we're all Slender. it was me all along, or I think. Kind of where it was going. I don't know.
Yeah,
it is kind of the ravings of a crazy man.
Yeah.
So, but that's basically how the story ends. Is I figured it out now. We are Slender. Credits. So that's that's the story of Tall, Thin, and Faceless. So I have a few notes, a few thoughts, and starting with the quote. My wife and I had always wanted to go to the British Isles, but for the longest time, the money wasn't there. But he says that, but then he says that then he said that your income was high and your debt was low and you had a good job. What?
Yeah, they've got savings, but clearly going to the British Isles is way too expensive. Especially for only 2 people.
Yeah. And then to compliment that, it's like, just me and her. No kids, no job, nothing but beautiful scenery and relaxation for 24 straight days. Wow. You don't bring your kids to Britain? That's kind of low. Just personal opinion anyway. Those kids must be pissed.
Yeah.
I know. I always get pissed off when I was a kid, when my folks went off somewhere, like some cool place, like hell, even like Florida or New Hampshire or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But for 24 straight days,
yeah. Why so? Also, yeah. Why so? Was it a package deal? Like,
yeah, like normally you go for a week or 2, and that's what 17.
Yeah.
Or no.
So maybe they're there for
14 days.
They could be there for 3-4 weeks. That's almost a month.
Yeah, almost a month. Well, yeah, 3-4.
Yeah, that's some
3-4.
Yeah, that's some vacation time rolling into that. What?
Oh, nothing.
Okay. And then there's another quote. I raced down 2 flights of stairs leading from the bedroom to the living room, armed only with the brick we used as a doorstop. I slowly crept to where the only lamp in our house used to be. Wait, you were racing and creeping at the same time?
Well, he raced down the stairs and then started creeping. Boom, 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 boom. Like make a bunch of noise going down the stairs.
Also, is this a thing? Like using a brick to keep your door open?
Well, it's a doorstop.
I guess. I just feel like it could have made just as much sense to just have him have a bat, like if in case of intruders, kind of thing.
But then at the same time, he's well used to using a brick because of the fact that he takes a rock later on to smash into the policeman.
That's true.
Because in that scenario, where does he get the bat from at the end? It's just a stick in the woods. Like,
whack!
It's like, oh no, it broke. Damn it, now I got a pissed off cop.
Okay, so I guess it's like trying to tie into the other. I don't know, just and then so about the midpoint of the story, basically starting with the Slender Brawl, as I like to call it. The story starts kind of rushing, or at least it feels like it's rushing, like ahead. Mm-hmm. Like the character narrating is telling us the story as a recollection, so it kind of makes sense that they're started kind of speeding up a little bit, but the story can still take a bit of time with us. It just felt like the author was kind of racing to get to the end because he wanted to get all his stuff out. Something that we see a lot in
getting plot points out. And it's like this happened, this happened.
Yeah, but you gotta take some time. Dude, Slenderman's brawling with you. Let's get some action in there if you're gonna suddenly go that route.
Yeah,
and have you fighting Slenderman. Here's another quote. We gathered our things when a picture from our fridge caught my eye. Okay, so I think that if the police are doing a deeper investigation of your house and the murder of your son. Well, to clear you as the father and some of that, they wouldn't allow. I don't think they would allow the family to remove possible evidence from or grab things for fear of that.
Well, the thing is that in actuality, they would quarantine off the house.
Yeah,
the family wouldn't be allowed back inside until the police had done their investigation.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's nothing. It's not really.
So basically, they're going to the hotel with the clothes on their back.
Yeah, and that's usually how you at least see it in movies or even in real life. That's kind of how that you would go.
Yeah.
Also, and then there's the very kind of the spotlight of this part of the story. Where the hell is it? Shit. In the cutest crayon drawing you can imagine was my son standing next to a tall, faceless man in a black suit. I made sure no one was around to see me stuff the picture into my pocket. God, why? That is such a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, like, contaminating a crime scene. Also, okay, another thing regarding this picture. When did the son draw this? Was it there before the trip? The day they came home? Is this what drew the narrator to the Slender photo in the first place? Like, maybe his son had drawn it earlier and now he saw, like, he drew connection with, oh, that's the same thing my son drew, like, in the photo. If the day before the attack, why not? Why didn't he notice it? Could use some reasoning on when it was made. For all I know, it appeared to be to be seen while they were grabbing their things. Like, maybe the Slender Man just, like, put it in, because I've actually seen in movies and so, and actually the movie I did with Captain Slenham, Slender Knight, or not Slender Knight. The Slender Man from 2013. Basically, the Slender Man was taunting the father of this kidnapped child by giving him, like, by basically, like, teleporting pictures for him to find that his son had drawn of the Slender Man, or of, like, messages on, like, children's paper. But yeah, just, like, I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah. The big issue that I have that sort of comes from that is the use of the word picture.
Yeah.
Because when you say picture, I think like a photograph.
Okay. That's kind of semantics.
But then when he's doing it, it's all drawings.
Yeah.
And a simple thing to say, well, there was a drawing on the fridge instead of a picture on the fridge.
I think it's semantics there, because, like, honestly, I was fine with picture as that, because a picture can be a photo or a drawing. It doesn't have to be. It's not specifically. It's not primarily a photo. Like, when you're describing a picture. In fact, if I was to, honestly, if I ever describe a photo, it will be a photo, because for me, like, as an artist, a picture is a drawing, not a photo.
Okay.
Picture this. I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying you're wrong. So yeah, he steals that. And then here's a quote from when the cop shows up to tell them the news about from the hospital thing. Snatched right from the hospital, but this time I knew where he was. I had to get back to the forest. Why? Why do you know that that's where he is? Is there a detail you left out about the picture? I feel we were denied critical, need-to-know information. And that's kind of the premise, that's kind of my issue with this story in general, is that there are details missing that we are not getting, and the characters are just kind of like, the characters know them, but the reader has no idea, so their actions are kind of not making the best amount of sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and to do that right, you have to have a revelation at the end, or something, right?
Yeah.
Like you have the audience is left in the dark, and then all of a sudden there's a reveal at the end, and then, oh, that's why they did X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But from this, we already know he's in an insane asylum at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended at the insane asylum at the end, but...
And, I get where like, the narrative flowed is that, like, the reason he's in the insane asylum is because he's basically been framed for murder, or possibly did do the murders, and he just thought the Slender Man was behind it or something like that. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into that part of my notes at some point. Mm-hmm. So I had to find the... so this is a quote regarding his suit, and, like, it's tied to this. I had to find the remains of my suit. It was the only way to stop the Slender Man. Okay, so, again, how do you know that? But also... I actually hang on. I actually really like this is brought up earlier with when it happens with the tailoring suit, with the tailor in Britain. I really like the idea of Slender Man being tied to a cursed suit, or having that be like the vector, because it's one of the aspects of Slender Man that we kind of take for granted, or doesn't get touched on a lot, like in any of the stories or any of the vlogs or anything like that, like his suit. Like, why does he wear a suit? Kind of thing. And I really kind of like that idea of, like, that It's like almost like it almost adds a new level. Like this story, for its flaws, actually has some originality in terms of like an aspect of the Slender Man that hasn't got touched on a lot. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm actually kind of like that. Like when the suit is being brought up as like the foci for the whole thing. As much as we do need some details on like how do you know that aside from like the tailor's shop had a Slenderman photo.
And the blaring issue at that point, the suit is in custody with the police. And
no, it was wrapped. The kid was wrapped around in it, so it was brought with them when they went to.
Yeah, but the kid's missing,
and
not the suit.
Oh, I thought the kid and the suit were taken. I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe, but like, who's going to pay attention to that?
But if you remember, there was also a shred of the suit in the woods when they went out to see if they could find the kid.
Yeah, but that would have been taken down by the police.
Yeah, it's kind of a plot hole. It's like, or again, devil's advocate. Maybe the author didn't really know how police procedures work, which seems evident with a lot of this.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm not going to be as harsh as some of our hosts have been, Leviathan, when it comes to that kind of thing. Because I mean, like, you're just trying to write a story. But on that same note, you should at least look into like what investigative procedures are, or like maybe you just use common sense on like on how the police would handle this kind of situation, like of a missing child, like a abduction case or a murder case. Like it seems kind of like. Kind of straightforward that a police investigation would have the house cordoned off and they'd be taking all evidence.
Yeah, and then when the kid goes missing, suddenly there's an Amber Alert.
Yeah, right. And then suddenly when something goes away when, oh yeah, we found him. Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like, again, like the author didn't have the details didn't have like the information about like how a police procedure kind of goes on, and he's using police procedure, or basically using the police wrong in the story. Yeah. Like they feel, I think I bring this up later in my notes, but the character himself and the police don't feel like real people; they feel like cartoon caricatures.
Well, and that's part of the problem because no one has a name.
Yeah, police officer, my wife. Me, who's a narrator, or Slender Steve.
Son number Taylor. 1, son number 2.
Right? The Taylor. The Professor, Aunt Mary Ann. Here on Gilligan's Island. Oh, God. So, yeah, he's, so that's the suit thing. And then this one kind of caught me a little bit. The ride there was quiet. I tried to get some sleep. Really? You think this is the time?
Yeah, to get
some sleep while you're in the cop car driving to your home? Do you have that much time? Like, is the hotel that far away?
How far away is the hotel?
I expect it's at least in the same town.
Yeah.
So at least 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, you're not going to fall asleep.
Jesus.
I need rest in that time.
Yeah. Oh. All right. So here's a quote that follows after that one. When we got there, I was careful to make sure no one else saw me. I entered the house through the front door and quickly escaped out the back and headed for the woods. Which, okay, first off, should be impossible since you actually had a police escort.
Yeah, people are going to notice you.
Secondly, this is really just an off comment from my own like personal opinion on this. This played out rather comically in my head, like a cartoon, like some kind of like full on cartoon humor, like. Just like running through the house and like escaping out the back, or like Snake from Simpsons, like 1, 2, 4, bye. It's like that kind of thing. Where he just escapes. Yeah. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. So this is. I think this is a quote. Yeah, this is a quote about. So when he's out in the woods. And the cop, and he finds the picture, and the cop shows up and says that they have to go. I explained that my family was in great danger. All he told me was that there was nothing he could do. No, I think you could go back and protect the family. You are a cop after all. and you wouldn't want to take this a little bit more seriously after a child has died, and then followed by that. While he had his back towards me, I picked up. Oh, also, I think. Hang on a second. Oh wow! I actually missed something in my notes. So also, basically, the cop at the same time that cop is like, "There's nothing we can do. Let's just head back to the hotel." So okay, hang on. No, hang on. Yeah. All right. So following that quote, there's another one. While he had his back towards me, I picked up a fair 6 stone. That should be fair sized.
Well, although he's using English terminology for how heavy the stone is.
Oh, wait, really?
That's right. How I took it, it's like a 6 stone. Like it weighs 6 stone, so it's a really heavy rock.
Is that actually a thing, or are you just coming out of your ass?
Well, in Britain, they say they actually have a measurement of stone and how heavy something weighs. But yeah, 6 stone is, I believe, pretty heavy. Okay.
A fair 6 stone. And brought it down upon his... Wait, so is he like... So is the author British? And he's talking about an American who went to Britain and then went back?
Well, apparently he has too much British influence because he was there for 24 days, remember?
He's immersed in the culture. He's immersed himself too far in the culture. Nice. Alright, anyways. So, while he had his back turned towards me, I picked up a fair 6 stone and brought it down upon his head. He staggered a bit and fell to the ground. I took the car keys off him and ran towards the car. It was still dark. I need to get back to the hotel. Okay, so first off, I did, wow, okay, fair 6. Okay. Secondly, you were just going to the hotel. Both of you.
Yeah.
He was going to take you there.
Yeah.
And nothing would have been illegal about it.
Yeah.
You were getting your wish. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
There's also the police officer not questioning why he snuck off into the woods.
Yeah. Also, another thing about... Yeah, exactly. No, not questioning about that. Also, bringing it down on his head is also a really good way to kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't... like, that's gonna, like... Go, you swipe them across the back of the head to try to knock them out. You don't bash them over the head. That's basically you're trying to kill somebody. Mm-hmm. And I mean, who knows? Maybe the author is.
Maybe that's why he's in the insane asylum. Because he killed a cop.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, he didn't kill his family, but he killed a cop.
Yeah.
He's a cop killer.
Yeah. And then this is basically my my last note for the entire story, or for the end of the story. So, amidst the badly portrayed actions of this guy, Slender Steve, and the police officer, Commissioner Slender, I don't know. This is actually a really interesting story to me. Like, the ideas around the Slender Man are new. Like, as far as I know, like, not many people, if at all, have actually tried to, like, put in, like, some work on, like, the suit itself. I think the closest I've actually seen is... somebody uses the tie of the Slender Man to indicate if it's an aggressive attack or if it's just stalking you. Like it comes when it's black, it means it's just stalking you, but when it's red, it's actually going to attack you. In Slender vlogs, anyways. But in stories and stuff like that, I've heard of the Slender Man. I've never actually read anything about the suit being like some kind of like foci or some kind of, or seemingly like some kind of cursed object or like a vector for the Slender Man, which seems to be what the story is trying to portray. And I just like the idea of this entity or phantom being bound to a suit that's tailor-made in England. And the final confrontation is kind of fascinating to me because it shows a Slender Man in both a sinister and yet kind of a strange light, like almost semi-sympathetic, like kind of going back to the inscrutable mindset that Slender Man is supposed to possess. Like he's not supposed to be. He's not supposed to really be relatable. He's supposed to be this weird, like eldritch force, or like his motives are never supposed to really be defined, like that we can understand. Anyways, he's supposed to be alien. Yeah. And the fact that he is like amidst this horrible, sinister atrocity of like killing this family, and then he turns to the character and projects his emotions on him and asks for help. It's kind of interesting how like what. And then Alternatively, it can also be interpreted the story since he is in the insane asylum, so that the guy was behind it. That the guy was behind actually all the murders and killings and stuff like that, and that or that the Slender Man was in his head making him do these things, and he just thought that it was the Slender Man in his through his eyes it was the Slender Man doing it, but in real life it was actually him doing all these horrible things. For me, this story needs a run of editing and spelling grammar and all that stuff.
Yep.
Add some details regarding and descriptors regarding just maybe add a little bit more to some of the add some more meat onto the bones. But at the core of the story, I really do like the story. I like the ideas, I like the concepts. The story was relatively easy to read through and enjoy, even with the flaws it has. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on it. So, Mikey, E stands for evil.
Alright, I guess I'll start with the grammar.
The grammar Nazi.
Issues. So, we packed a small bag of essential. And took a cab ride into the shore side of England.
I saw a bunch of these spelling mistakes, and I decided to just basically ignore them because I knew that you'd probably take them on.
But I'd catch some of them. And whatever it is, it's it's missing an S. And then I think back to the beginning of the story, where he's stating that he's in the insane asylum because of hallucinations, paranoia, schizophrenia, and multiple personality disorders.
Dun 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 dun.
And I figured that's where the S went.
Dun 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 dun. What?
Because usually you only have a multiple personality disorder.
Yeah, you don't have multiple disorders, you have multiple personalities.
Yeah. So, and then the list goes on, as it's stated, and that's a lot of things for one person to have.
But I mean, at the same time,
it's not.
It's silly. It's a silly amount of However, from somebody who's read a lot of the lore of Slenderman stuff, it seems I know that a lot of mental illness tends to be an effect that Slenderman has on people. So I think this guy might have taken it a little too far with all adding so many. Yeah. Because usually it's paranoia, it's hysteria, it's hallucinations.
Yeah.
Actually, multiple personality could be when this was written and or posted at the very least, and the fact that the person who posted is named Harble Mornitz, it could actually be a kind of a nod to the Marble Hornets series, where because in that one of the affected people of Slenderman, Tim, basically takes on a secondary personality called Masky and becomes a proxy character, becomes this weird this weird sneak that breaks and enters into people's homes and puts stuff down and tries getting pills for his anxiety and basically the stuff that keeps Slenderman at bay or from affecting him. But so I think that's probably where that comes from in terms of putting it on the list. But yeah, there's just so many things put on this list, and it just keeps going on.
Yeah,
that it's a little it should be a little bit less.
But. Yeah, well, less is the best when it comes to mental illness.
That's actually kind of I've heard of less is more, and then less is the best
when it comes to mental illness. You can have it to explain certain things,
symptoms, maybe hallucinations, paranoia, and stuff like that. Those aren't really disorders; those are symptoms. And then but then you're including in some part of symptoms, schizophrenia. Wait, is it schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia, yeah.
And multiple personality disorder. Which, I mean, they're shitty fucking things, but they are also tied to their effects are very similar to what happens when somebody is affected by the Slenderman.
Okay.
At least in some of the vlogs and some of the stories you hear about Slenderman. Okay. But anyway, sorry, continue.
Alright, so this is a part where he repeats himself in the same paragraph. And it's after he's, while he's paying for his soup.
Yeah.
It says, after paying for it and calling for a cab, a picture on the wall caught my eye. It was old. Black and white, mid-50s. It was a very tall and very slim-suited man standing on a grassy plain. His face appeared to be smudged out. It was old. Like, we already know it's old.
We know it was old. We know it was about mid-50s, and it was old.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's just trying to accentuate the fact that it's old, but like by putting that down. But yeah,
but
it doesn't need to.
Again, if they'd used another word to describe old instead of using old, I wouldn't have been so picky about it. But it's in this...
Like maybe like it was weathered, it was worn, or it was like it was faded, maybe. Like, and that because like he doesn't really. He seems it was smudged. Like the face was smudged. That's all it was.
But it was old is the same sentence.
Yeah.
Just I do not like that one. And it sort of reminded me of like a poem or something. Like maybe he was trying to write a poem and just like, it was old, it was old, and just sort of tying it all together. But it's not a poem; it's a paragraph.
It's a poem paragraph.
All right.
It's a poem graph.
And the next one. I stepped out of my car, and when I stood onto the concrete, my legs suddenly gave out. So, for that, it's more stepped onto the concrete?
Yeah.
Because, like, that doesn't really work as when I stood onto.
Yeah. Stepped on would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what he was trying to get at was that he stood there and then he fell.
Yeah.
Fell over.
Okay, and then this one, it to me doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Like he has one word as a sentence, and it's between two sentences, and it could sort of be part of either sentence before or after it, and it just makes me go, well, what? Why is that there? Because it is. My wife needed to wake up soon. I was starting to panic.
Soon was put in the middle of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been like...
So it's like, my wife needed to wake up soon, or soon I was starting to panic.
Yeah.
Like, it could be for either.
Yeah, like, I think it would have been better at,
like with the wife.
My wife had to get up, and then, like, ... soon.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And then this is the worst offender that I have, which for me didn't make much sense at all unless... what's going on here?
You've lost everything?
No, not quite. Anyway, so this is the beginning of a paragraph.
Okay.
So it should be its own thing. And here's the sentence. The night was rough, but I still managed to.
The night was rough, but I still managed to sleep.
Yeah, sleep is
what's missing?
What's missing?
Oh my god! I think I remember seeing that, and I just again filled in the word because when you're reading, somebody just fill in the word.
Yeah,
I do remember something like that.
Yeah. It just
Does he mention sleep before that?
Yeah, like the paragraph before, like he's mentioning going to sleep, and then he says the night was rough, but I still managed to.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the problem,
I know, yeah, it's
the beginning of a paragraph, so it's
not
already
the way
disconnected.
You do, it's not the way you do it. Yeah.
And back to I wasn't paying close attention to the police stuff until this happened.
Okay.
It was the glaring police plot hole. Which is when he takes the keys and goes to the car.
Yeah.
Police cars have an extra step for anti-theft.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't want criminals running around.
Makes total sense, actually.
With a police car. So just having the keys
is not enough. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it could...
like...
Devil's advocate, it could be that it was... Like, he could be one of those cops that has, like, that uses his own car and just has, like, the siren with a light put on the dash or whatever. But that's a little too 80s or 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't really do that.
No.
Or if you do, you're more of a detective than a cop. I like how that is what.
That's
not the tampering with evidence at a crime scene. Not the fact that they didn't like cordon off the house or anything like that. No, the fact that he took the keys to the police job. Now I'm pissed about the police officer.
Yeah. That's what got me. It's like, okay, they've done the police entirely wrong.
God. Wow. All right.
And then this one sort of falls into the basic creepypasta trap of how did he get this out there if he's in a mental institution?
Yeah. He apparently he's so traumatized he can't speak, but he can write. So who's writing? Who said who? Did one of the orderlies like, oh man, this is really good. I'm just gonna post it. I'm gonna start on my Harple Mornitz site and just post this up. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like sometimes you have to. It's like with found footage films as well. Like sometimes you have to just ignore the fact that like how the fuck did this get made? Or like did this get out for somebody to see? But it is something that should get looked at, or should be explained somehow.
Well, and they could have explained, well, it's part of his therapy. He has access to a computer because he can't speak, but maybe he can type.
Wait, because he said he can write and draw.
Yeah.
So it's a plot hole. It's plain and simple. It's one of it falls into the same trap that found footage films sometimes fall into, and what creepypastas fall into. So
now one of the issues that I had with this story was how the paragraphs weren't well structured. Right? It's just one of the issues we run into a lot.
Yeah.
It started off well when it was just sentences at the very beginning, and then the paragraphs start rolling in. It's like, well, this could be broken into its own paragraph, and then this should be part of the other paragraph, and it just becomes a whole mess of stuff. And I actually spent some time rereading the story just yesterday and today, but with the caveat of only reading every other sentence. Just because he's in an insane asylum, so he might be sending a different message or something.
Oh my god. Okay. Did you get anything?
Well, in some cases, I think it actually makes the story better because it cuts out a lot of the crap.
Okay.
But then in other places, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
obviously, because it's...
That wasn't intentional.
But the big thing, it works when the Slender Man shows up.
Yeah.
And I've actually got it here with every other sentence basically underscored.
Yeah.
And I'll just go through it because it's fun.
Yeah.
We played with the children. We relaxed on the couch. I was nodding off. It wasn't long before the quiet was broken and my wife and I were woken up. In a panicked flurry, we ran up the stairs as fast as we could. Without even thinking, I kicked the door in. And there he was, the Slender Man.
Wow. Actually, because I assume there was something between we played with the children and then something like they heard the noise upstairs.
Yeah.
Nice. That actually doesn't make it. That's actually a fun it's a more it actually does sound better than.
Yeah. Well, and then it continues. Having seen him, I acted without even knowing what was going on. Long black tendrils whipped all around. That's when I blacked out. I had 3 cracked ribs. The Slender Man had my son.
Sorry, you know, we're going to do that one again. So I had 3 cracked ribs.
I had 3 cracked ribs. The Slender Man had my son, and there was nothing I could do. The rest of the day was full of emotion. My other son was in a constant state of shock. I did, however, manage to call the police. I kept the details of the tendrils to myself in fear that they wouldn't believe me. I needed to figure out when he would return.
Yeah, it actually sounds kind of coherent. Interesting.
Yeah, well, it's almost coherent. There's a little bit that would need to be tweaked, but you cut out a bunch of it and it still works.
Yeah. And I mean, I still don't mind some of the in-between stuff, but Yeah, it's kind of coherent when you cut out some of that stuff. That's interesting and funny. I had 3 cracked ribs. So just the way you said that is like, for some reason it was really funny to me. It was like almost like you were talking about like human ribs, like baby back ribs. Don't know why. Oh shit. All right.
Oh, yes, that's the end of my notes.
Your notes? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot else for me to say about it until we get to recommendations. Like, like I said, I like it's a flawed story. It could definitely go with another round or two of editing, like for the spelling and grammar and stuff like that, and adding in some things or maybe cutting some things out based on what we just discovered. But like, I like the originality of the story. Like the story. It was actually like a really good Slender Man story, all things considered. Like it wasn't, and we've had some ones on the show that have been like, this is really terrible. And I mean, like, again, maybe give the characters goddamn names.
Yeah.
First off, that's like if you, that's the worst thing to do if you're trying to invoke an emotion out of somebody is make somebody nameless.
Yeah. As the base evidence of goldfish.
Yeah.
If you name the goldfish and it dies in 2 weeks, you're sad.
Yeah.
If you don't name the goldfish, it dies in 2 weeks, you're fine.
Yeah.
So it's the emotional effect of having a name.
Just like you don't name the sacrifice. I mean, but yeah, like it's like if you're gonna like, it's like, oh no, his son. Buckaroo.
His son that we don't really know because he didn't get to go on that trip and he really is annoyed at his father.
Yeah. Oh no, it's Spoopy Stew? I don't know. Like, yeah, like we don't have, it's like, oh no, his son died. He had so much to live for. Like hating his dad for going to Britain. Yeah, it's just that kind of stuff. You need to name the characters. Maybe give them a little bit more depth than just
son 1, son 2, wife that doesn't really do much of anything.
Yeah, like is it that hard? Like, all right, so literally just call the narrator Steve. He's married to Eleanor. His kids are Ted and Bundy. No, Ted and Brian. Like, boom. Like, it's not that hard. Just give them names. And, like, that way, again, we get a connection to them. And, like, we feel shitty when one of them dies. And, like, or when they all die at the end. And then it's just like, yeah. And, again, give us some more, like, maybe do some research on, like, how an actual, like, police procedure works. Because the way you have it, they're like borderline cartoon characters.
Yep.
If that, I think sometimes cartoons have a better job of like figuring that stuff out or like presenting that stuff. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, aside from that, like I kind of want to recommend this because it is such an original idea for the Slender Man in terms of at least from what I got out of it. The issue though is at the end, like we are slender. Like what?
Yeah.
You had a good thing going at the beginning where, like, you went to the tailor gave you the suit seemed to be the vector, and you even figured that out without telling us when you, like, the suit was how you were going to defeat him, and then you're back in the asylum and you realize that you are actually the Slender Man, or we have a little bit of Slender Man inside of us all along. Like, we are the demons kind of thing. And it's just like, no, you said the suit was the reason.
Yeah. What would have been interesting is if he had the suit in the insane asylum.
Yeah.
Been like, we are Slender as he dons the suit.
As I don my suit. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been good. So for me, it's kind of a partial recommendation. Like, I want to recommend it. If you're a Slender Man fan and you have like 5-10 minutes to read a story, because it doesn't take that long to read this one. Like, it went pretty quickly for me. Maybe like 20 minutes. And you want an original idea for why the Slender Man is stalking somebody. Like, there it is. So yeah, that's my partial recommendation. Otherwise, I would like whoever wrote this. I mean, I know it was posted in 2010, but go back and edit it and like fix it, because you got something good here. Otherwise, for me anyway. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
Okay, well, my recommendation is also partial. In this case, it was more the visuals sort of worked with going through all the different things, but the issue that I had was with the paragraphs.
Yeah.
And their structure not being as good as it could have been. Like, editing would have only really helped, like, usually with the spelling mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, that's usually what what people do.
Yes.
Just get rid of the spelling mistakes, and they don't spend the time to read
and revise
the story and the paragraphs, and which you end up with stuff at the beginning of a paragraph that pertains to the previous paragraph that doesn't work unless it's actually part of the previous paragraph.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure there was like one or two paragraphs in there. I didn't write them down, but they seemed like they could have easily been taken into another paragraph, like split out and just been a lot more coherent.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people that likes their things written nicely, you're not gonna like this story.
Yeah.
But then it does have some visuals, like he does sort of elaborate what's in a room and all that, and explain the grey walls of the interrogation room with the table. And
he's like, oh god, no, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good in that aspect, but in the same aspect, there's too much stuff, as we established with the whole taking out every other sentence.
Yeah.
And so that sort of tells you how much filler.
So it's almost like when I said like because the pacing seemed kind of rushed about halfway through the story. It's almost like there was some filler glut through the paragraphs, but then like they weren't like the descriptors and details aren't proportionately placed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's essentially it. So there's my recommendation.
Okay, so you'll like it if you don't like good writing.
Yeah.
Or if you can get past if you can get past like some of the again this feels like a first draft or at least a second draft. But the story could if the story was revised, it would be so much better for it. And if you're a fan of Slenderman, you'll probably like the originality. If you like original ideas for Slenderman, this is a nice take on that, because again we have. It blends in the familiarity of Slenderman stories, but also gives us a new angle on it. That's what I like about it. And then, but yeah, it doesn't.
Well, now that I think about that, there's another part that I really didn't care for, which was sort of beating around the bush to what the creature is. It's like, oh, it's a slender, in quotations, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's actually kind of also something that is brought up a lot in Slender vlogs, is that no one ever... It's like saying the Z word, or the Z word, or the Z word. Right, I'm Canadian. The Z word. No one in a zombie movie wants to call them zombies.
Yeah.
Or just like in Slender vlogs, no one in a Slender vlog wants to call him the Slender Man. They either use the operator for Marble Hornets, they use the tall guy, him, Slim Jim... Mr. Slim Jim, they go out of their way to not call them the goddamn Slender Man.
Yeah, but my problem is that he beats around the bush with the quotations, and then when he actually confronts it, it's the Slender Man.
Yeah,
just straight out. It's like, well, why didn't you do that from the beginning?
Well, maybe he called it like the Slender Man, and then at that point he just started calling. That was basically his nickname for him, was the Slender Man. Yeah. It could have been worked out a little bit better. Maybe if this ever gets revised, maybe that'll get fixed.
If it ever gets revised.
Well, I mean, listen, it took us a long time to get around to it finally, to get around to us to look it on the show. So maybe in the future, I don't know. I think that's it for this week's episode then.
Yep.
Alright, so if you like what you heard, if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below wherever this gets posted. And you can check us out at Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. We're on iTunes, so leave us a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing. You can send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. Also, you can send us messages on Twitter. I'm at Review Cultist, and Mikey is at E stands for evil. Also, you can check out the title cards for each episode on crazonstudios.tumblr.com or the YouTube channel with the video versions of each episode. And if you'd like to support us, go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigamortis, and choose the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We usually supply behind-the-scenes content, special episodes, and early access if you don't want to wait till Thursday to check out the show. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
Slender Man, all the children try to run. Slender Man, to him it's part of the fun. Slender Man, dressed in darkest suit and tie. Slender Man, you most certainly will die.
File, it just loaded nicely. And I also have the actual pasta. If it stayed loaded, did it stay loaded? No.